chapter, what is this, 71? 60, 71. Yes, French Carbonarism, founded 1820. The Masonic Lodge Les Amis de la Verte was founded in 1820 by Butchus Flotard. All right. Bazard and Jobert, all Freemasons for political purposes. On a riot incited by members of this lodge, a young man was killed. As a consequence of his death, this lodge went out of existence. One of its former members, Dugid, a Freemason, was initiated into the mysteries of Cabronerism while at Naples. One, having conceived the project of introducing the association into France, hold on. He discussed the matter with another ex-member of the Amis de la Verte, Flotard, and together they decided to put the idea into practice by taking as a nucleus of the new organization the remains of Les Amis de la Verte. The society was organized as follows. The one Hot Venti, Central Ventis, and Individual Ventis lodges. The Hot Venti was the committee of direction and action. Two members of the committee having found an adept, the adept would agree with them to form a Venti. The adept would become president. The adept would become president. Precedent? One? No. Sorry. The adept would become precedent, one of the other's censor, the other deputy, the role of the last being to keep in touch with the committee while allowing the president to believe that this committee was only a superior degree of the association. The censor's business was to inspect the work of the Ventis. These three chiefs were then required to annex 17 recruits, thus bringing the number of a lodge up to 20. Thus constituted, this group was called a Central Venti. Two of its members made below what had been made above them, forming the individual Venti of the first order, which, repeating the same process, formed an ordinary individual Venti, thus extending indefinitely the ramifications of the sect. A similar organization, but under different names, was adapted to the army. There, the Hot Venti was called the Legion, the Central Ventis, the cohorts, the individual Ventis of the first order, the centuries, and the ordinary individual Ventis, the maniples. This double system was intended to puzzle the police by making it believe that there was a separate association in the army. A further measure of precaution forbade a Carbonero, under penalty of death, being affiliated to another Venti. This precaution was intended to prevent anyone entering different groups and thus possibly discovering and denouncing the secrets of the society. That's two errors I found in this so far. Not in what they're saying, but in the what do you call it? The text, the words. Where was I? Damn, I hate when I do that. Secrets of the Society. The direction of the Ventis was indeed centralized, but this unity of control was to be ignored by most of the members. The Carbonari had no settled principles. It accepted all opinions, provided these favored the elimination of royal families. The imperialists and liberals formed important nuclei. The latter, the sons of middle-class parents, stirred against the government by patriotism, youth, and class jealousy, dreamed only of grabbing the influence of the old families. As for what is called the people, it did not count as Carbonarism. The illustrious role attributed to it later had not yet been invented. To begin with, the Hot Yenti counted only 7 members: Dugid, Flotard, Bazard, Buchez, Jobert, Carril, Limperani. Among them, we find again the 4 heads of the Amis de la Verte. The Carbonari having prospered, the Hot Venti found it advisable to annex some notable characters. Among others, the Freemason General Lafayette, who, even in old age, had a childish weakness for popularity, accepted the offer to join the conspiracy. Towards the end of 1820, the society had many branches, notably those of Bordeaux, Nantes, Toulouse, La Rochelle, Pontiers, Colmar, Belfort, etc. The subversive efforts of this society culminated in an abortive attempt at revolution at La Rochelle, and the subsequent arrest of many of its principal members completed its nominal dissolution. After the debacle at La Rochelle, the Amas de la Verte merged into the Amas de Pupil, which in turn in 1832 became the Droits de l'Homme. After its unsuccessful attempt to assassinate the king, Louis Philippe, in 1835, the remains of Droits de l'Homme reorganized as the Société des Familles with Blacqui and Barbès as leaders. According to Lucien de la Haude, carbonarism in France had ceased to exist by 1822, except for a few obstinates like Charles Testy, a friend of Babeuf, and Boenratti, who remained faithful to the old organization. Lucien de la Haude, however, while following carbonarism, lost sight of the Haute Venti, which, working through Mazzini and the International Committee of London, directed its work of destruction in France through Ledru Rollin and Felix Pyat. After its collapse in 1836, the Société des Familles became that of the Seasons, and it was a branch of this society, the Société Descendants, that served the purpose of the Haute Venti in 1848 by aiding in the terrorization of Paris and the fall of the monarchy. The self-appointed members of the Provisional Government of France after the abdication of the king were Depute Dupont, member of the original Carbonari founded in 1820, Arago, Lamarentine, Ledru Rollin, Garnier Pages, Mary Cremieux. Lucien de la Haude was the agent of the French secret police, and for 8 years before the Revolution of 1848 occupied an exalted position in the ranks of the revolutionaries. His conclusions are strangely at variance with the facts which he relates. On page 381, he tells how an indiscretion on the part of Caussadier, one of his associates, placed the blame of a conspiracy upon Ledru Rollin, and because Ledru Rollin calmly denied knowledge of the affair, de la Haude accepts his statement without question. Though a bona fide student of the subject, it is quite evident that the de la Haude had failed to grasp the principle upon the revolutionary organizations had failed to grasp the principle upon which revolutionary organizations operate, viz., that of a body of dupes whose particular job is genuinely to believe that their organization is the executive one. Into this, one of all persons of doubtful revolutionary integrity are steered, and in this branch of the machine conscientiously attend to their business while the real agents do their savage work. All right. Let's see, 72 will be modern Knights Templar. All right.